everybody? Today I'm going to talk about some garage sale tips. Now if you're new here, consider ring the bell. I've talked about garage sales in a few videos. Like I did a garage sale haul over a year ago and stuff like that. But I kind of wanted to talk about my tips of getting good deals and good bargains in garage sales, and I kind of wanted to talk about this. So yeah, let's get started. So the first tip that I have is I would recommend going on Facebook Marketplace to find listings of garage sales. Now, a few years ago, or even more than a few years ago, I would have said Craigslist, but Craigslist, especially if you're in a smaller town, really doesn't cover it anymore. And also Craigslist is also kind of dated in itself. I went to the website recently and the website was very dated, so really recommend Facebook Marketplace mainly if you're trying to find garage sales. It's really the best way to find them in my opinion. Now I know that there's some yard sale locators and stuff like that, but I feel like a lot of the time they search it from Craigslist listings instead of Facebook Marketplace listings. So if you're really trying to find a specific listing, Facebook Marketplace is the way to go. I would recommend looking at listings that mainly have multiple images of what they have in stock, because there are some people who just list a stock image of a garage sale sign. I don't really like those, because I really like to have a little bit of knowledge of what's at the sale. For me, I'm a very visual learner. I like seeing things to learn more about them, Google Maps. I definitely use maps on my phone to get directions and stuff. So it's kind of the same thing with this. Now I know some people kind of list what they have in the description of some of those stock image sales, but I would just recommend trying to find ones with images, or at least a few images on the listing. And another thing is that make sure it's a current listing, because there are some people who forget to take down the listing because it already happened. So make sure the date's correct. I've seen so many people just leave it up there for a month, so just be careful about that. And I would recommend using the saving feature on Facebook in general, where you could save a listing. That way, most people will have the address posted in the description. You will know where to go. Make sure that that's kind of all on there, or that's kind of what I like for it to be on there. But yeah. Number 2 is arrive early, but not too early. So what I mean by this is that if you arrive in the first 30 minutes to an hour into the sale, everything will be stocked. So that's a good idea to do. But here's the thing. Don't go too early. Don't be one of the early birds that was 30 minutes to an hour before the sale. Because most of the time sales are in the morning, or they start around that time. And if you are mainly looking for video games, I've seen a lot of video game collectors do this. They will show up 30 minutes to an hour before the sale. Don't be one of those people, for the love of God. It's just I've seen so many people trying to do that on YouTube. You'll just look like a jerk. Will look like you don't respect their time. I can't stand it when people do that. People who do that kind of suck. So just make sure you don't arrive too early on purpose, because when they have a set time on that listing, they want to probably start at that time. So that's what I recommend. Just please don't show up too early. But the thing is that there is a counter argument to showing up early compared to showing up late. Showing up late might not have as much as good selection, but you might get better deals, because the garage sale people who are running it probably will lower the prices by the time the sales are kind of wrapping up. I mean, I like to arrive early. I know some people like arriving later. And what's actually kind of crazy is when you arrive early, you might get some of the best deals, or some of the best things in general, because I actually got some crazy stuff from a few sales because I arrived early. I got Wii Sports Resort and Child's Play. This was 75 cents, so I think this was 50 cents. And then this is literally what I found at a garage sale, no joke, because I arrived early. So they had a Super Nintendo, and the Super Nintendo was $60, which is not that bad. I found freaking Mega Man X and Mortal Kombat 2 for $8 each. Yeah, so when you arrive there early, there's a chance that you can find stuff like this. And $8 for freaking Mega Man X is a really good deal. Yeah, just make sure that you show up early to these sales because you never know what you're gonna find. So Number 3, look at the condition of the items whenever you're going around in the sale. Because, like, there are some people who are just kind of just giving away without realizing that they might just need to throw the items in the trash. But, like, with things like electronics, like, look at the condition of, like, the electronics, make sure all the buttons work. What I like to do is try to ask to use a power outlet. I really like seeing to make sure it works, even if some people might take their word for it. That's what I've done for like some of my CRTs. Actually, the very first CRT that's at the other house, I tested it on the spot. And DVDs and video games, like the discs and stuff like that, make sure that it's actually in the case, because I've seen some people not knowing that there is not a disc in the case. Also, with discs, please check the condition, because I've seen some discs where they are literally scratched to all hell. So just make sure, like, they at least are not, like, deep scratches in them. I mean, it's kind of almost impossible to find DVDs and stuff like that with no scratches. I mean, you'll be lucky. Actually, with Child's Play, there was almost no scratches. Just make sure there's not really any deep ones, because most likely the disc is not going to work. And number 4 is consider the price, because, like, I really like garage sales mostly because you can find stuff like Mega Man X for $8. People really just look at eBay sometimes and they just list the top listing, and that doesn't make some of the prices right. And, like, if there is a price that is more expensive in eBay, especially if it's more expensive, don't do it. Just don't buy it, because, like, they're clearly trying to make more money as possible without really caring about, like, the condition. Because there was one time I recently saw a CRT TV, a 9-inch model or something like that, with a built-in DVD player for $50. No joke. It's just like, I mean, CRTs are kind of like that now, but not as bad as video games. If it's more expensive than eBay, don't even bother, because, like, they're clearly just trying to make as much money as possible without really caring about the quality of the product. So that's kind of my opinion. But another tip I have is haggling. So, I don't really haggle that much because I'm nervous, but I would recommend try to haggle a little bit, but be respectful about it. Like, be respectful of people's boundaries, you know? People are just people. Like, you gotta consider their feelings, because, like, I actually haggled some video games. I got a box of Atari games for like $25. They would have been like $40 for 2 boxes of the Atari games, so, like, haggling is kind of like one of the parts of garage sales that can be a little interesting, because, like, people really don't haggle a lot anywhere else. They are more likely to haggle at garage sales than pretty much any other place. Like, people really don't haggle at, like, game stores and stuff like that. Like, garage sales is really kind of like one of the main things is haggling. I would recommend for, like, haggling, for, like, bulk sales, most likely they will give you a lower price if you buy more of a certain item, like video games and stuff like that. That's kind of how I got those Atari games. Buying bulk of, like, DVDs and stuff like that, they will probably give you a little bit of a lower price. Not all the time, but most likely they will. So, like, buying bulk would be better with, like, haggling and stuff like that. That's my experience. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. I was originally going to do a garage sale video at the other house, but I kind of wanted to talk about some tips today. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.